Chairman, on the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer any questions and invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege to remain silent.
Mr. Wolfel, this report is a sham. I would call it a whitewash, but it's too thin and unsubstantial to even meet that description.
I'm so glad that you would be willing to play football in prep school again to protect this great country. Shame on you, Mr. Castillo. Shame on you.
The resolution finding Lois Lerner waived her Fifth Amendment privileges on May 22nd, 2013 is approved, and we stand adjourned.
Charles, we know you want to see her given immunity so she can speak out. Where do you think this goes?
Well, let me say that I'm not a lawyer either, but I will make a ruling on it.
You can play one on TV?
Absolutely. I won't make a diagnosis, but I'll make a ruling. Look, I think that the committee is right. She waived her right. But nonetheless, because the Democrats are trying to do everything possible to slow down the investigation, pretend it shouldn't exist, pretend it's over, it's all solved, they ought to concede that point and say, okay, we'll grant her the fact that she hadn't waived it, and we give her immunity, because you've got to get somebody who will speak. Now, she obviously is resistant, but when you give use immunity to a witness, that they cannot remain silent after that, because it can hurt them. And beyond that, anything that's said under use immunity cannot be used against you in later proceedings. So it gives every incentive to actually speak the truth. And of course, there's a risk of perjury if you don't. But it's got incentives, and it also has disincentives. So I think if you ever want to crack the case and to get it back on track, you need somebody who will speak. Everybody is covering up. Everybody is reluctant. If she speaks, it can open up a lot of other stuff.
The day before, the White House sent out a press release bragging about how prepared they were to protect on a very important anniversary of 9/11. What we also know as a result of today's hearing is that they did not even confer with the combatant commander in that part of the world to make sure that he had everything that he needed.
What do you think of that?
It's rather astonishing. That's General Ham. He's in charge of Africa, and he's the guy who would have been the one who would prepare the preparedness. And all you get from the White House, and you see it's a theme all through all this, including the talking points, is trying to make the appearances look good. In trying to explain all the behavior of the administration, why would you cover up? Why would you tell a story? They wanted to look as if they were not responsible. Everything had been done because it was an election year. And that, I think, is the root of all the distortions and the lies.
Who you now know to be Trayvon Martin was on top, correct?
Correct.
And he was the one who was raining blows down on the person on the bottom, George Zimmerman, right?
That's what it looked like.
So the beating of this had happened on this sidewalk. Charles, this witness is saying it was Trayvon Martin on top of George Zimmerman, and the defense there using that.
Prosecution didn't have a good day, and a star witness, I feel sorry for her. She didn't want to be there. She's not the witness you would want on the stand. She isn't that well prepared, and when she gets contradicts herself unintentionally, I think it weakens the prosecution's case. I say the defense has had a good couple of days.
All right, quickly, winners and losers. You have winners first and loser?
Winner is constitutional propriety with the striking down of the Voting Rights Act, this anomaly which we had for 50 years, a deserved and a good one of identifying the southern states for separate treatment as a result of discrimination in the past, is now over, and we return to the constitutional norm of all states essentially being treated equally. The loser of the week, and I say this with some sadness, is Rusty the Red Panda, who newly arrived from Nebraska, tried to escape from the Washington Zoo. He left no note, so we're not exactly sure why, but I think after 3 weeks of the bickering and the gridlock in Washington, he'd had enough. But unfortunately, he didn't make it to the Cornhusker State, which is his native territory. They found him asleep in a tree, and he's now back in the zoo, and he hasn't spoken a lot since.
Wow. This was the lightning round at one point, but it's good to get the panda update.
It's a long story, it's a poignant one.
has been a Sunfish production.